Even when you have all your EQ and compression working perfectly to sit your vocal in a mix, oftentimes a lead vocal level needs a little help to stay in the focused foreground of a mix. Let's take a look at how you can ride the fader using volume automation on a lead vocal to accomplish this. This technique of riding a vocal fader throughout a mix is quite commonly used in mixing, and in my opinion, the best way to do it is to perform the moves in real time. So if you have a fader controller or any kind of control surface, now's the time to get that out and map it to the lead vocal fader. If you need a refresher on automation modes and methods, please refer to the Up and Running of Persona Studio 1.3. It's a course that I teach, actually. I'm going to assume here that you have at least a basic knowledge of how to write real-time automation. So I want to go ahead and put our lead vocal into an automation mode. Now first I want to look at the volume display. So I can click down on the display area here so we can take a look at the volume display line as we do our real-time automation. Next I want to get set up so I really have a good fader to work on. So my favorite way to do this in Studio One is just to click on the little knob button down in the mix window, and then I can get a pop-up version of my lead vocal track and a nice big fader to work on. Now, if you're not seeing a big fader like this, it's just because you have to adjust your view. There's a little triangle down at the bottom, and when you click on it, you can get a nice large fader to work on. So that's going to be the fader that I'm going to control. I'm not using a control surface for this demo, although if I had one, I could map it to that fader and then perform the moves in real time. And you'll see as I do this why it's really helpful to do it in real time, because you can really feel where the vocalist is going and try to bring emotion back into phrases. Again, there's always an issue that happens, and we talked about this a bit in the compression movie, where at the end of phrases sometimes the energy falls off, and you can really use your fader to fight against that, to really hear every last nuance of every phrase so it just gets focused on and you just feel right there emotionally with the singer. So that's the intention. That's what we're going for. So once I've got this set up, I want to move out of read mode and into a writable mode. I'll start with latch mode, and once I do that, that means any move, anytime I touch the fader, I'll be writing, and when I let go of the fader, it'll continue to write out past that point. Now, once I want to do some editing later, I'll probably move into touch mode, which will only write over breakpoints when I'm touching the actual fader, and then if I'm not touching it, it'll leave them alone. That's a more safe mode to work in once you've made some automation so you don't write over anything. But we'll start out in latch mode, and I'm just going to work through this verse 2, and I'm going to try to do my best to sort of bring the fader movement in to emphasize certain parts, and then just to sort of duck any other loud parts just to make the vocal sit in there a little better as a performance. Here we go.
So hard to smile now that you're not around. How could you aim the moon then pull it down? I might spend hours staring at the door, waiting for you to remember I'm yours.
That felt pretty good. You noticed I just really brought up the end of those phrases, and you get all that. Jade is such a great singer that even when her breath is dying out, you get some really nice vibrato, and I tried to bring that out. There's one section I wanted to duck a little bit more, so I might go back and go into touch mode here and just do an edit. I want to bring this phrase here down a little bit. So I'm going to do another pass, and I'm going to grab hold of the fader and just pull it down during that section.
Pull it down.
Here we go.
I might spend hours staring at the door, waiting for you.
Great. And then once you make your moves and you want to fine tune, you can always go in and zoom in really close and actually alter these breakpoints one point at a time by hand once you've gotten your main moves. But it's always great, I think, to do a performance of the vocal automation and ride the fader to get a really nice sounding mix. Again, these are the subtle details, but these are the things that are going to really make your mix stand out. We're talking about musical levels and organically changing parameters, and those go a really long way to take your mix from a flat mix to a much more evocative and multidimensional mix. So performing subtle real-time automation to the lead vocal, by doing this, you can keep things exciting.